This video I dedicate to white supremacists, white nationalists, Jews, liberals, eugenicists and Asians, and anyone who thinks that their intelligence is proven through the education system, the IQ test, or any other nonsensical thing I have thoroughly debunked. I bring your attention to Biological Science and Inquiry into Life, 4th edition. In other words, this is very basic, common sense biology by the experts. This is textbook proof, if you will. First, I'll start with mental retardation. My argument is that the smarter people are being screened out, the wiser people. And, of course, it says some conditions of mental retardation are strongly influenced by heredity. So people who aren't wise enough to go along with Babylon's system, especially if they're in a targeted demographic, are more likely to exist within it, while 3 types of people are singled out for elimination. Criminals who do unapproved acts of crime, heinous crimes, people who expose the New World Order like I have, and people who are more talented than the corporate shells who refuse to pretend they're not. So I fit at least 2 or 3 of the categories. Page 157, the last paragraph, intelligence. Now, I've gone over this time and time again. I said either you admit that EBOs are superior, or you admit the IQ test means nothing and the environmental factors are key. Because remember, from the statistics that I used from like 2000 or something like that, it showed that West Africans outperformed every other race and Asians came in second. Okay, Asians from Asia, West Africans from Sub-Saharan Africa, you know, when it comes to schooling and IQ. Now listen very carefully. It's funny how this is very basic common sense biology, and to overlook this makes you completely disingenuous and you have no right to speak. Intelligence is not easy to define. The first sentence confounds your argument. You know, you can define who the top martial artist is through doing the most traditional and competitive form of competition. So you can show superiority through martial arts. But you can't define who's the most intelligent. So no matter how geeky someone is, it makes no sense. And for a woman to say she's a sapiosexual, oh really? So magically you're a fucking genius who can define intelligence when no living person can. Talk about delusions of grandeur, right? These are the same mental health scum that talk about people having supernatural powers being a mental illness. Yet they push the idea that you should be a sapiosexual. In other words, I've basically definitively proven, using basic biology and common sense, and the experts who wrote this basic biological text, that these are gold diggers we're talking about, who look for people who are successful. The scale they use for intelligence is success. Now we'll prove that even more in a second. It is even more difficult to measure. Repeat after me. Intelligence is not easy to define. It is even more difficult to measure. So if you're some kind of wimpy, geeky, effeminate fuck, I got news for you, pal. Nobody should respect you at all. There's nothing you have done that is respectable. You can't even define what you have done other than hard work and conformity. Working hard to help the oppressors is not an admirable action or series of actions. Anyway, intelligence is not easy to define. It is even more difficult to measure. Stupid motherfuckers. The most common type of intelligence test is one that gives an intelligence quotient. Now listen carefully. Listen very, very carefully. In this type of test, intelligence is measured in ways that require memorizing, reasoning, and the ability to visualize objects in space. I have no problem with that at all. But what is said next puts all the groups that I have dedicated this video to shame. Listen very carefully and repeat after me. and then pause and play it again. Ability to use language and vocabulary are important in these tests. Thus, the person's background and education play a large part in determining the results. Let's go over this again. Ability to use language and vocabulary are important in these tests. Thus, the person's background and education play a large part in determining the results. It's very interesting how the media, which is run by the same whites and Jews that claim the races are superior, push Ebonics on the black youth. They make it socially normative to speak Ebonics and to be a stupid, dumbed down black sports playing idiot who, if they are to go into boxing or martial arts, must learn from either a whitewashed black person or a white person. See how that works? You see how that works? On record, we have worse educational facilities, worse schools. On record, they push Ebonics through the entertainment industry on us. They keep the liquor stores and the hip-hop clothing stores and all the oppressive tactics, targeted on us, targeting us with them. And then they turn around and say, we are more intelligent than you are. When on record, according to the same maggots and rats, the ability to use language and vocabulary are important in these tests. Furthermore, thus the person's background and education play a large, and I'm going to circle that, a large part in determining the results. Doesn't that make you want to kill them? I mean, doesn't it? Doesn't it make you want to stop everything you're doing and fucking kill them? Knowing that they are soft killing us and they have sterilized 60,000 Americans on record based on invalid sources and invalid biased tests. My goodness. My goodness, to avoid eugenics and the IQ test is a downright act of fucking betrayal. He goes on to say, oh, you're going to love this. You're going to love this. Judging from IQ tests of identical twins, there is some hereditary basis of intelligence. Environment also plays a major role. Let me I forgot to highlight this earlier because I'm going to put this on the screen. It's going to ruin the surprise. I'm going to wait until I read it to put it on the screen so I don't ruin it for the viewers. Environments, so, for the effect. So they feel the way I do about it. It's not only true, but you need to get mad. You need to get mad. You need to do something about this. Environment also plays a major role. So they said background and education play a large part. Ability to use language and vocabulary are important in these tests. And environment also plays a major role. Now, I've said from the start, they are downplaying the cultural factors, the environmental factors, the media influence, social pressure, the desire for social acceptance, etc. I've said this for 20 years. Why either they were too stupid to concede my point, or they are too evil, which is worse, to concede my point. It is the interaction of heredity and environment that finally determines the intelligence of an individual. In all probability, many genes contribute to the determination of intelligence. The problem is they don't have a valid test to determine natural intelligence, and they have rigged the deck. And by the time, let's say in 100 years, say in 150 years from now, right? Racism is over. It's done. Well, you'll have already screened out the most intelligent black people. So by the time we get to that point, only the people who are suffering from slight mental retardation, who think it's okay to conform, are going to be left. You see how that works? When you're wise, right? Ignorance is bliss. So all the ignorant people are going to be able to create a flow in society where they're going to work, they're watching the football game, they're guzzling beers, All the smart people All the wise people like me with superior genes, brain surgeon sons, will be screened out. In the future, you will have the same kinds of things that they highlight right now. House niggas who quote-unquote know their place in the white man's world. And dumbed down black slave class type proletarians. And I'm not making fun of them. I don't believe in eugenics. I don't believe in the IQ test. I don't believe we will ever be able to measure intelligence, ever. I don't believe in the sapiosexual movement. It is the hypergamous movement in my book. The movement of hypergamy. Now, page 158, human genetic diseases. Listen carefully. This is also disturbing. Remember, these are key in the eugenicist argument. Licentiousness, pauperism, being poor, which they relate to intelligence, disease. These are the things that they wanted to sterilize people, and this is what the liberal progressives are targeting. The types of people they soft kill with psych meds and GMOs in the food, and people who aren't in secret societies, and people who aren't in the know because they're helping them do it. The number one group of people who's in the know and takes it 100% serious are the people who are helping them do it, so they know what to avoid. You don't want to open that door. You don't want to drink that. Don't go to that store. That kind of thing. In 1976, 2,500 human genetic diseases had been described, and the list has grown every year since then. Scientists are finding that a disease is really the product of interactions between an organism's genetic makeup and its environment. Now, don't you see? When you are the social engineers that control the environment, urban planning, social planning, just Google these things on record. Man, right now I really want to stop and fucking kill somebody because this is gonna, just explain this. You're pissing me off. When you control the environment, you can target certain people with certain genes. If you find that black people, for instance, are more susceptible to high blood pressure, you can target the whole lower class with high cholesterol, fast food, and you can disproportionately kill black people. If you control the environment and you see that black people are less financially stable and more reckless with their spending habits due to media influence and other, whitewashed cultural influences, you can make abortion legal and black people will naturally abort their children more. So a lot of these genetic diseases only become a problem when the environment, and it goes back to my equation, 6S plus 3E plus 0.50 plus 0.5B equals R, resulting behavior, where E is environmental factors, S is state of mind, state of soul, state of soul. B, 6, 3. Okay, O is other factors, and G is genetic factors. I don't know where I got the B from. I'll put it in the comments. It's been a while since I got over my equation. But basically, the other factors, the genetic factors, are a very small part. The major factor is the environment. You could say, well, a bird is not fit to live because it can't survive underwater. That's because it's meant to be in the fucking air. The leopard's kingdom is of the earth. On the earth, it is the master. In the skies, it becomes a victim. If the white man offers you his environment, if the white man controls the environment, if the white man is hell-bent to control the environment, it's because he wants to make you the victim. In natural martial arts warfare, Chukwu Emeka is the master. In Roman nonsense, which has nothing to do with hunting and warfare and where they overlap, spears, daggers, Chukwu Emeka becomes a victim. If the white man wants to train the top martial artist, it is because he wants to make me his victim. That lowly, conniving
The leopard strikes to kill. If he is told not to strike to kill, he becomes a victim. If these cowards who don't understand martial arts wish to make the rules in a way that don't reflect true martial arts combat, it is because they want to make the leopard their victim.